And I saw this like the other day. I didn't watch it because I was like, okay, I noticed one of the real life superheroes, so I want to see what other ones are around here. Let's look at some real life superheroes that became criminals.
We will be examining when superhero obsessions go a bit too far. Believe it or not, every day people dress up as fictional superheroes.
Spider-Dan wowed Chicagoans by claiming the skyscraper.
In the real world, and some even attempt
Phoenix
to
Jones.
stop criminal activity and engage in vigilante
Remembering Shadow, the vigilante ninja who prowled the streets of Uval at night.
justice while wearing eccentric costumes.
Up,
However, in the effort of doing this, some real-life heroes have found themselves behind bars for crossing law enforcement, and others would even take a darker path, becoming villains and committing heinous crimes. Today, we'll be looking at various cases of real-life superheroes who have committed crimes. Sponsored by private internet access.
Fine.
With threatening individuals lurking on
ads.
the web, it's important to protect yourself online by using a VPN like private internet access. Private internet access is one of the world's most popular VPNs with over 30 million downloads and 10 plus years of VPN experience. It's easy to use and works on all of your operating systems with just one subscription. I think I'm just fucking throwing this thing around. Hiding your IP address with private internet access makes it to where advertisers and your internet service provider can't track your browsing activity. And it also keeps you anonymous and protected when you're using public Wi-Fi. They've got servers in 91 countries and a dedicated server for each state in the United States. Yeah, so that means you all can switch to the Tennessee server and hang out with your boy digitally. This
I don't even know who you are.
Strategy can be used to bypass regional content blocks, which goes without saying has useful applications for streaming apps. When a show or movie you want to watch is region exclusive, just change your location and bam, now it's watchable. The last thing about private internet access is that this company has a no logs policy, which means they keep none of your information on the back end, and this has been proven in court. So what do you guys want? Take back your online privacy today. Click the link below to get 83% off private internet access. That comes out to just $2.03 a month for the service. And that link will also get you 4 additional months free.
Petoskey Batman?
Will you be involved in a negative way and basically allow this to happen, which makes you partly responsible? Or will you be involved in a positive way and take a stand and say enough is enough and you're going to put an end to it?
What format? What is that, like 480? Like, when was that made?
Batman is without a doubt one of the most beloved and revered superheroes of all time, being the subject of numerous video games, comics, and movies. He's also unique from many of his other fictional peers because he has no superpowers, relying solely on a variety of gadgets alongside his own fighting skills. So it's perhaps unsurprising that some overly enthusiastic fans have attempted to mimic this cowled crusader in real life, thinking that they could emulate his heroic antics. This brings us to the case of Mark Wayne Williams, a man who lived in the small town of Harbor Springs, Michigan. In May of 2011, a local news outlet reported that Williams, clad in full Batman attire, had the police called on him after observers noted him hanging off of the side of a building in the nearby town of Petoskey.
Why were you...
According to law enforcement officials, the man was carrying heavy-duty weaponry, such as a baton and other worrying melee items. While it wasn't immediately obvious what he planned on doing that night...
Well, fighting crime. Come on, he's Batman.
The fact that he was dressed in a superhero costume led observers to connect the dots and correctly assume that he was attempting to dole out his own brand of vigilante justice, I guess. He was arrested and charged with trespassing, causing a disturbance, and carrying concealed weaponry, all of which were incredibly serious charges that could land him in quite a bit of trouble. In response to the accusations against him, he was reported as stating, quote, "I realize this is a serious offense. I honestly had no idea that the items I was holding were illegal. I did not intend to harm anyone with these items. I swear that."
Wait, but you're Batman. You should know what the fuck. You should know about the criminalization, about criminology. You should know what's illegal or not. You're a bad Batman. You don't even know if the weapons you have are illegal. How did you get them then, too? Although it seems like you just got charged with trespassing, but still, like, oh crap. Can you imagine calling someone from Tim in jail? He's getting his phone call. Alfred, help me. I need to post bail. It's his wife. Stop calling me Alfred. Oh God. Everyone's looking at me. They don't know I'm vengeance. They also need to be. You fucking dork.
Bizarrely, this wasn't even the first time he had done something like this, as
Seriously?
it had been found that Williams previously masqueraded as a totally different hero, a supernatural
you rebranded?
Asian-themed crime fighter called the Crow. His exploits as this fictional bird taking place years prior. The article...
You don't even look like the Crow. Oh God. You don't have the makeup or anything. You don't look like the Crow. You don't look like Eric Draven. You look like the ones from the crappy sequels. Please tell me that's not what you wore. Don't even have any makeup. What were you gonna? You can't die. You can die. The Crow can't.
The article ends off by claiming Williams was being held on a $20,000 bond. He later pleaded guilty to obstructing an officer and was given half a year of probation. A seemingly great deal, all things considered. Now, as this story began spreading around, people started referring to him as the Petoskey Batman. And the nickname would stick. While he hadn't hurt anyone or caused any major damage, the idea of a grown man running around town in a Batman suit loaded with weapons was something.
Well, that's not Batman. That's the Red Hood. I could, I guess.
And that being said, one of the major stipulations of Williams' probation was that he was banned from wearing the costume until it was over.
Why can't you figure DC would get involved? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Stop it. Instead of a Batmobile, he has like a Bat Toyota.
This seemed to dampen the spirit of the once passionate vigilante, with it later being reported that he was selling his iconic suit on eBay and quitting the superhero business altogether, with it later being sold for around $152. While at the time this was seemingly an open and shut case involving a Batman-obsessed, overzealous citizen trying to keep the city safe, it was really only the beginning of the Petoskey Batman story. Fast forward to late September 2012, and Williams once again decided to take up the superhero mantle, this time being accompanied by a girlfriend.
He's got a girlfriend.
Dressed up in a Batgirl costume. This pair would scour the streets looking for trouble, acting as a sort of glorified neighborhood watch, keeping an eye on the local community. One day, the pair stumbled across what they assumed to be a crime.
I don't care I don't care what you're trying to do. You're not going to look intimidating on a fucking on a jungle gym. And he's in the same spot. You got a new costume at least, I guess.
Investigation into what was going on.
Or is that the old one?
Calling the police to inform them of what was happening soon after.
Also, props to her. No, it's not that bad. Okay, props to this woman for enabling this guy's fucking behavior. Either she's like she just might be okay with it, or like maybe she's just as psycho as he is. I don't know. Maybe the dick that good. Who knows?
Now, unbeknownst to either of them, authorities were already combing the area in an attempt to find a suspect that had been involved in a hit-and-run incident earlier that day. And once they discovered the two were already investigating the scene, they attempted to get Mark to leave, which he allegedly refused to do. After becoming incredibly frustrated, they arrested him on the grounds that he was obstructing their efforts. According to later reports, the police claimed that his involvement had hurt their search.
I would like to think he starts moving like in the Arkham games. Just starts jumping around, but they're like, what the fuck are you doing? Stop it.
Saying that Mark had prevented their trained canines from catching on to the perpetrator's scent. The animosity that police had towards Mark was apparent, and Mark would give his side of things in an interview on the news.
He's very rude to me. He was telling me how, people are scared of me and they don't want me.
They're supposed to be. Criminals are supposed to be afraid of him. He's Batman. Of course they're supposed to be afraid of him.
Out there, and how I'm 33 years old and I need to just give this up and whatever.
Clearly, you're not listening. I mean, I don't know. Well, maybe probably people are scared of you because who the fuck dresses up like Batman and tries to fight crime? Legit.
And, you know, like
They're
I said,
mean
it
to
seems
me.
like it was more about who I am than what I was, you know, doing here.
Whether or not he truly had interfered with their investigation is up for debate, but it was obvious that the local police were sick of Mark's repeated offenses, and they decided to throw the book at him in an attempt to get him to stop once and for all. Ironically, the buzz surrounding this case launched the Petoskey Batman story into the mainstream news once again, with even more people becoming aware of his actions more than ever before. While there were certainly a fair amount of people that were mocking Williams from afar, there were also those who believed he was simply trying to set a positive example, believing his arrest was totally unjustified. One of the most vocal supporters of Williams and his plight was another real-life superhero named Bee Sting, who also operated in the state of Michigan. In an interview with the news outlet ML Live, Bee Sting, whose real name was Adam Besso, stated, quote, "I really think this is an issue of they just don't want him wearing the costume."
Well, yeah, they also don't. Well, I think it's also they don't want him interfering in police work. I think that's the biggest problem. He's not a cop.
They don't want his participation. They don't value the fact that he's a citizen and has a right to observe and report something that's going on.
Yeah, but not a right to get involved.
The article also reveals that Mark was a member of the Michigan Protectors.
What the fuck? Let's see, Batman, Batgirl, what the fuck? Holy crap, who the hell is that guy? The big guy. Oh god, like that Bee Sting guy. This one looks like Nightwing, I guess. I don't know. Is that Arsenal? I guess Bucky, no, Speedy and Azrael. This guy. How does he fight crime? I don't know I don't know how any of these people fight crime. Ugh. You think these two like do it with the masks on or something, with the costumes? I gotta wonder that.
A real-life superhero group that
That's what keeps me
operated
up at
around
night.
the state. Looking back at archives of their website, you can see new...
All right, we're gonna read some of these. Let's see. Detroit, Michigan. Okay. Attributes and training. Motivational, direct, and deliberate. Combat veteran. Combat arms. Combat lifesaver. Advanced in first aid, CPR, jiu-jitsu. Military occupational specialties in urban warfare. Counterinsurgency. Military office procedures, including detainee operations, communications, aircrafts, and vehicle maintenance. Oh, God. Were you a veteran? That might explain a few things, you weirdo. Why you're doing this. Situational awareness, disaster migration, and disaster sense management. Gear, level 4 bulletproof vest. Who do you think is going to shoot your at? Well, it's in Michigan, so maybe. Armored jacket and pants and gloves, pepper spray, drop leg holster with sidearm, tonfa, handcuffs, first aid, trauma kit, video camera, flashlight. Bee Sting spent years training and operating in events with his fellow brothers in arms after recovering from his injuries following his deployment into Iraq. Yeah, like I said, a little soul searching, he realized that the person he had become is not of his own personal benefit, but the benefit of others. Taking on a modified Army Cavalry logo and a utilitarian-based costume, he now helps others to set up their own neighborhood crime watch in some of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the country. That sounds really dangerous.
Numerous other members.
The Animal. Oh, he's a little skinnier in this one. Well, then again, this is at an angle. Let's see. Adept interpersonal communicator mediation. All right. Yeah, I need a superhero to mediate my arguments. Who doesn't? Community service, leadership skills, gear, pepper spray, always the pepper spray, flashlight, headlamp, cell phone. Great, thanks. I can play Angry Birds or look at my Twitter while someone gets shot. First aid kit, armored gloves, and various other paddings. Every child wants to be a superhero, and that is not an exception for the Animal. At a young age, he knew that he was meant to make the world a better place. In his freshman year of high school, he heard sirens outside his window. Everything in him said to run and see what was going on, but he decided against it and stayed home. The next day, he learned that his cousin was burned alive in a fire. Holy crap! That is pretty dark. He vowed to never... Well, I mean, I don't know what you could have honestly done. Also, how do you know that? I mean, I feel like there's some holes in that story. Like, that'd be pretty bad. Like, that siren had nothing to do with it, but it's like. Also, what exactly? You heard sirens. Were they in the distance? Were they driving? Because, like, I don't. Well, this is bad that your cousin burned in a fire. It's like, were these two related? I don't know. There's a lot of questions here. Anyway, in his senior year of high school, he created a mask and went out the first time as the Animal. He grew worried about the legality of wearing a mask. As he did, he started to research. This was when he stumbled upon the RLSH community. The Animal created the Indiana's Justice Squad and helped create the original Michigan Protectors. Now, the Animal is a full-time Michigan Protector and will continue to help his fellow man to the best of his abilities. Oh, that's it. I mean, any more?
Who had their own unique backgrounds and costumes.
Let's see. Venge. Oh, God. Vengeance, I guess. Venge. Lansing, Michigan. Let's see. Attributes and training. Self-trained martial artist for 14 years. Okay, that's not reassuring. Acute sense of hearing. Okay. Specializes in de-escalating situations and reasoning with people. Oh, you're super reasoning with people skills. Great. Leadership skills. Good endurance. Active homeless outreaches. Crime patrol. Neighborhood cleanups. Great. Thanks. Do you have like a staff that's gonna pick up trash? Anyway. Gear. Pepper spray. Binoculars. Whatever. Camera. Medical kit. Pen and notebook. Thank God. Flashlight. Double flex cups. Cell phone. Multi-tools. Growing up, kids always liked playing superheroes with the mask, cape, and running around in the yard. When Venge was younger, he wondered why no one dressed up to help people. Why there were no real superheroes, because technically we were kind of told they were the cops. At 9, he met a kid with the same thought. At 10, they made a small group to help others. A few times, people they knew would get jumped, have their bike stolen, and other things like that. To help reduce the chances of becoming targets, every time they went to help people, they would wear a specific set of clothes they would wear along with sunglasses and bandanas. They figured that they were the only ones doing it, and this dreamed it would someday spreading to the world. When Venge was 19, he saw a YouTube video of a guy in full costume, belt and team being interviewed. He did some research and discovered the whole community of people called the real life superheroes. In New Year's Eve 2010, using Verge as his code name for the first time, he and his friends did the first time crime patrol together in mask in years, symbolizing things we're going to change, and this was who they were now. Being an RLSH isn't a job. It's volunteering to help others. I've done this for fun. I've never done this for fun, attention, or thrills. I do this because it's what is right.
With the site claiming that their goal was to, quote, inspire others to be more active in their communities. They also, interestingly, outright rejected the label of vigilante, despite the admittedly theatric personas and activity that they had crafted and participated in. The aforementioned hero, Bee Sting, has his own controversial history, previously being arrested after discharging a gun during a scuffle with another man after a dispute broke out between the two. Mark, or the Petoskey Batman, had reportedly helped raise money for Bee Sting's family during this difficult period, which explains Bee Sting's loyalty to the Petoskey Dark Knight. Now, as expected, Mark flatly denied the allegations that were being made against him by the police, and he would plead not guilty. You know, the Petoskey...
Sorry, it's my mic, the cord of my mic is fucked up. I really gotta get a new mic. Anyway, sorry about that.
Petoskey Batman, this real-life Batman, he's having similar issues with the police, just like the actual Batman was. I guess you could say he's really dedicated to the bit here. In November of that same year, True TV reached out to Williams and extensively interviewed him, asking numerous questions surrounding his persona and conflict with the law. Telling his side of events, he claimed that he had been cooperative with the authorities the entire time and was never even told the reason as to why he was being arrested.
Because you're interfering with police work. There you go. That's it.
Only learning this reason later on. In response to the claims that he interfered with the canine units, he stated that they didn't even show up to the scene of the crime until 45 minutes later when he had already been placed into custody. This paints quite a different picture regarding the ordeal. But at this point, it devolved into a situation where both sides simply refused to budge or admit wrongdoing. However, one very important question had been left unanswered. Why exactly did he feel the need to do all of this in the first place? Why couldn't he achieve his goals by acting as a normal citizen instead of dressing up like Batman? After being questioned as to why he felt the suit was necessary for his cause, Williams would respond by saying this, quote, "If I was out there doing it in jeans and a t-shirt, nobody would really pay attention.
Well,
the whole
yeah.
point of me being out there doing this is to get people's attention and to get them to realize that it's up to everybody to take care of the community and make it better."
Or they just think you're a weirdo who's just doing this for clout, you know, whatever.
The uniform gives me a chance to explain what I'm doing out here. While the news had been reporting on his escapades for quite a while at this point, this was one of the first opportunities for people to truly understand his motivations. While from an outside perspective, it may seem like Mark was an irresponsible nuisance who believed he could do a better job than police, it seems that he simply wanted to make a positive difference in his community. Somehow, despite authorities clearly wanting to severely punish him, the Petoskey Crusader would end up escaping with relatively few major legal repercussions. In December, it was reported that the prosecution would be dropping the charges against him if he agreed to plead guilty to a lesser trespassing charge. While one might expect this
How much
entire
money does this guy have? He has like money for a costume. He has like, I guess he has a pretty good lawyer. I don't know.
incident to deter
Maybe he
Mark
is
from
Bruce
ever
Wayne.
donning his costume again, he made it abundantly clear that he would continue to carry out his solemn duty regardless. On April 28th of 2013,
2013?
Williams once again returned to the limelight, this time posting a YouTube video of himself reaffirming his mission as well as directly responding to criticism regarding his methods.
We often get asked questions about
What resolution is this then, though? Like HD, like at least like 1080p was a thing, guys. It's like, what the fuck? You have enough for a lawyer in that suit, but you don't have enough for a good camera to do this thing?
like, what's wrong with us and why can't we just, become police or EMTs and help people that way? Well, let me answer those questions. One, there's nothing wrong with us. We saw a problem in our community, we go out, we try to help. We try to make a difference. The people that have something wrong with them are the people that sit idly by and watch things go to hell and don't do anything about it. The people that know that their neighbor down the hall is getting abused and say nothing. The people that know that there's a meth lab down the road and do nothing.
Ah, yes, the meth lab that's near my... To be fair, the meth lab near me, they're quite nice. They
say, oh, I don't want to get involved.
always waving, say hi, hey Joe. It's like, hi, hello. Oh, you and then, they walk away.
Let me tell you something. If you know about it, you're already involved. The only question is how. Will you be involved in a negative way and basically allow this to happen, which makes you partly responsible, or will you be involved in a positive way and take a stand and say enough is enough?
It's time for a change.
Put an end to it.
He would also make a return to the local news cycle.
Fucking hell, this channel's really getting a lot out of this guy.
His prior controversies and to promote his social media pages. When asked about his relationship with the police now that the dust had settled, Williams had this to say.
What's your relationship now with local police?
The city police, I don't have much interaction with the state or the county.
Okay.
But I see the city police quite a bit because I'm usually within the city limits, and I have a great relationship with them, If they need help, keeping their eyes out or whatever, there have been a few times they've asked me to keep my eyes open, and if I see something, I call and report it, so.
Okay, that's good to hear, though, because
Yeah, I guess they're more like, this guy's not going away. Just let him do his stupid thing. Maybe he'll get stabbed.
I know it was a little rough for a while.
Oh
But,
yeah.
you have a brand new YouTube channel. What do you want to get? What's your message to everyone with this?
Batman
YouTube channel?
TV.
Basically, the YouTube channel is just another way to reach people and to get my message out there. There's a lot more you can convey, with a video and actually being able to speak instead of just writing or typing on the internet there. So I'm hoping I'll also be able to bring light to subjects that I'm working on or looking into.
Part of me would find it kind of funny if like someone trolled his ass to be a supervillain. I know they're going to talk about Phoenix Jones because I saw the thumbnail, but there was I don't know if they'll talk about it on here, but they did have where there was some guy who was trolling him to be his supervillain. I wonder if someone would have done this with this guy to be the Joker or something, or like the Riddler. You'll never catch me, Batman. And they just jaywalk or some stuff. They don't even do like actual crimes, just jaywalking and maybe like littering. Oh, I'm throwing this can on the floor. And runs away.
While he would go on to state he hoped
Joker,
to use
you
the
fiend,
channel as a platform to spread his message, it seems that he would abandon this idea, with only one video ever being posted to it.
only 3,000 views too. Good God. Granted, my views aren't that great, but jeez.
This unfortunately wouldn't be the end of the hardships faced by the masked Michigan vigilante. As stated earlier, the hero Bee Sting was one of Williams' ardent defenders during his difficult legal proceedings. In 2014, however, it was reported that the two had a falling out over.
I'm not too sure about these two. I mean, they feel like there's something going on. Why is your arm around her? Why isn't your arm around her? You two are supposed to be dating, aren't y'all?
The leadership of the Michigan Protectors. Sadly, it seems that this argument between the two was so intense that it actually led to the disbandment of the group altogether.
You think they got into a fight? It's a civil war! Michigan Protectors Civil War!
With the Petoskey Batman once again standing up against crime all alone like the actual Batman does in Gotham. In
what about his girlfriend?
situations like these, the social media pages of those involved become inactive or are deleted and lost to time. But interestingly enough, the Petoskey Batman still posts on Facebook semi-regularly to this day.
Oh, great.
While it's unclear if he continues his patrols in the same way that he did over a decade ago, it appears that he hasn't lost his enthusiasm for promoting positive activism.
All right.
With this story becoming yet another fascinating footnote in internet history.
Well, I guess congrats to that, dude. At least I guess hopefully you don't get hurt or get someone else hurt. Yeah, there we go. Phoenix Jones.
If you've ever done research into the topic of real-life superheroes in the past, there's a high likelihood that you've stumbled across the story
I actually did watch like a little mini documentary about him, and so I do know a little bit about this. But
of Benjamin Fodor, known
see if he talks about
primarily
it.
by his superhero alter ego, Phoenix Jones. For a brief time, he was revered as a beacon of hope within the confines of his own city, only to eventually ruin his reputation and become a prime example of how fame and influence can corrupt morals and cloud judgment. But before we can truly understand how Phoenix became such a polarizing figure,
He
we
looks so
must look
stiff.
at his background and origin. Benjamin was born on May 25th, 1988, and had a rough upbringing. He went
88!
on to become an amateur fighter, studying mixed martial arts, and actually managed to gain somewhat of a name for himself within the community alongside his adoptive brother, Carlos Fodor. As he became older, his passion for assisting those in need became stronger, leading him to become a teacher for autistic students.
Oh,
But
wow.
it wouldn't be
That's
long
actually
until
not bad.
his desire to help his fellow citizens grew into a desire for something greater, something larger than life, if you will. Phoenix first began rising to prominence as a superhero thanks to his association with a larger group of like-minded individuals called the Rain
Super
City
Pimp.
Superhero Movement.
Ah.
Operating in the city of Seattle, Washington, all 8 of the members had their own unique persona.
This looks way too big for him. I don't. How does he turn? Does he do it like Michael Keaton Batman? Like just kind of like that? I don't like this. I never understood how Batman would ever do that. That looks fake. That they all look kind of the same. Honestly, that looks like Daft. That's like Snake Eyes. I guess he's trying to be Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe. He's like, I could be doing anything else. I could be at home. I could be watching Spider-Man, but I'm here.
And identities, all wanting to aid law enforcement in any way they could and potentially even prevent crimes from occurring.
Right.
Jones himself stated in a 2010 interview with the Daily Beast that one of the main motivators for him starting his crime-fighting career was an incident involving his car being broken into. After going to investigate his broken window, his young son allegedly cut himself on accident. After this incident, his father decided he would try to do something to curb the rampant crime occurring in his...
Wait, what? Cut his knee so badly that blood spurted out of it, all over the car. God damn, what the hell? What'd you hit, like a vessel? I mean, I've had glass in like my knee. I didn't have like, well, kind of. Because me and my friend snuck into like an abandoned house, and we just started walking around, just breaking, just dicking around, and then I got out of the window. The thing I didn't realize is, and I had shorts on, so like there was like a whole bunch of glass on the windowsill, and so like a dumbass, I fucking put my knee there, and I fucking hurt my knee. But I didn't tell my mom because I like these guys. I like my friend. I didn't really want her thinking like, oh, you can't play with him anymore. So I just kind of sat there in the dark in my room, picking glass out of my knee while watching The Simpsons. Good day. That was.
City. Even from the very beginning, police and the press alike expressed a great deal of hesitancy towards their mission, believing that the group may become more of a liability and hindrance than
That's understandable.
Else.
Police are perplexed, worried the group will turn into vigilantes, and skeptical that they've ever actually stopped any crime.
Our concern is if it goes badly, then we end up getting called anyway. And we may have additional victims.
Oh, that's nice. Game of sandwich.
Phoenix had been engaging in the superhero business for a while at this point, but had largely gone unnoticed with very little press coverage being done on him. However, once news outlets began to dig deeper into this story, they realized the potential and began to scrutinize the self-proclaimed crime fighter closer. His suit looked like something straight out of a movie, featuring a bulletproof vest as well as various other heavy-duty equipment.
How much did this cost? This could not have been cheap. Like, that's an investment right there. Also, you can kind of see the wool right here. It looks weird. Actually, the whole mask looks weird, but still. I like the look in this guy. He's like, this motherfucker. I get that. That's his brother.
Designed to prevent himself from getting seriously injured. Police were aware of his identity at this time, but had not yet revealed it to the public, possibly in an effort to prevent Jones from becoming a target for criminals and putting him in harm's way, or perhaps they didn't want to encourage his activity. The strangeness of his actions, as well as his willingness to talk to the press, soon made him a rising star, with his escapades being documented by the mainstream news outlets. In January of 2011, it was reported that Jones had stopped a carjacking, intervening and chasing off the would-be thieves before police had a chance to arrive.
And you just start sticking it down inside between the window here and the rubber strip.
Dan was calling 911, but help flew in before he finished dialing.
From the right, this guy comes dashing in, just wearing this skin-tight rubber black and golden suit, and starts chasing him away.
This was a clear turning point, as he had actually proven that he could do good work that benefited those around him.
Well, I mean, did he? Because I'm pretty sure that carjacker is still there, still at large. He just got away.
Positive press such as this would continue to be a common theme with Phoenix Jones, and he would accumulate a fan base of folks who liked and respected him for actually taking a step and, doing some good in his community, doing what he thought was right. Reports such as this all boosted his reputation, with Jones becoming a sensation, and he was often recognized by people on the street who were familiar with his antics. However, there were numerous concerns from critics as well. While most of them acknowledged that they appreciated the sentiment behind what he was doing, many believe that intervening in dangerous situations should be left up to law enforcement and not private citizens. Many of his adventures were also caught on camera due to the involvement of self-proclaimed filmmaker Ryan McNamee, who documented many of the real-life superhero escapades, uploading many of these clips onto social media.
Yeah, it seems to be nothing but Phoenix Jones.
To this day, numerous of these videos remain on YouTube, providing some interesting insight into the early days of Phoenix Jones. However, not everyone approved of his methods. While it's to be expected that there's going to be a fair amount of skeptics in the press, he was extremely controversial even within the community that he was a part of. An article published by the Wall Street Journal in February of 2012 revealed that other heroes such as Night Owl and Zeta Man disapproved of Phoenix's tendency to involve himself in dangerous situations.
You want to show these guys, please?
They were part of a completely different organization called the Real Life Superhero Group, being one of the rival superheroes' top.
That's a weird picture of him. Makes him look kind of chubby. Uh-oh, it's another civil war.
Critics throughout his rapid rise to fame, with Night Owl himself stating, quote, "Whether intentionally or not, he's representing the superhero community now, and that makes some people nervous." The two groups reportedly attempted to bridge the divide by patrolling together, but this only ended with relations between them becoming worse, with Night Owl's superhero group completely distancing themselves from—
Who the hell is this? Who the hell are any of these people? You're just jealous.
The Rain City superhero movement. All in all, it was clear that they were unimpressed by the Rising Star's philosophy, believing him to be a bad representative of the cause, as their work was more centered around charitable action as opposed to physically mimicking their fictional counterparts and, like intervening on crimes in a vigilante type way. Towards the end of 2011, it would seem that the suspicions of his critics would be proven correct after a particularly controversial incident took place. As the story goes, a group of individuals were dancing in the street in the
I remember this one. Yeah,
early hours of the morning, and were shocked after a masked individual approached and began pepper spraying them for seemingly no reason. This obviously angered them a great deal, with the situation rapidly escalating.
Phoenix Jones, the city's most prolific superhero, complete with a full-body costume, running to help others. Jones says he thought it was a fight and tried to break it up. The whole scene is being captured by Ryan McNamee, documentary videographer.
Let's see, he did use spray, but only when things were out of control.
McNamee says the crowd Jones thought he was helping turned on him.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out.
And it's Jones's use of pepper spray that police say led to his arrest for assault.
The mysterious man who approached them was none other than Phoenix Jones, and he faced a significant amount of backlash for his actions here. He would go on to defend himself by claiming the individuals involved had actually been fighting, and he only had been trying to break them up. However, Jones's account of events completely contradicted what the victims had to say. Police also took this opportunity to reaffirm their initial fears about Jones and his style.
In the police report about the incident, the officer wrote that Jones has had a history of injecting himself in these incidents.
His the bottom part doesn't really match the top. I don't know. This looks a little weird here. Again, his whole costume looks kind of weird. I don't know. It looks like he kind of skimped on the lower. He skipped a lot of leg day. That's all it looks like.
Recently, there have been increased reports of citizens being pepper sprayed by Jones and his group, adding that Jones has been advised to observe and report incidents to 911. He continues to try to resolve things on his own.
While he had called 911 after the alleged fight had been broken up, many still believe that it was irresponsible for him to insert himself in a dangerous situation, especially using any sort of weaponry. As a result of the conflict, the now 23-year-old man was arrested and charged with assault, but he was released from jail after posting bail. In the ensuing legal battle, the true identity of Phoenix Jones was revealed to the public, with many shocked when they found out who he actually was.
Really?
Meet Phoenix Jones, self-styled superhero and self-proclaimed defender of Seattle. The comic book vigilante who has ended up on the wrong side of the law after being accused of assault dramatically unmasked himself outside one of the city's courts on Thursday, revealing the man behind the mask, Benjamin Fodor.
What?
I'm also Ben Fodor. I also protect the city. I also am a father. I also am a brother.
It was also soon reported that he would unfortunately lose his job as a teacher. While some believe that this was unjustified, it was perhaps inevitable. One could also make the argument that this all was for the best. If he was consistently involving himself in danger, he could also inadvertently lead danger to the children that he was trying to teach. You know, he'd piss off a villain.
Yeah.
And they come for your class.
I have your class, Phoenix Jones. If you do not do what I'll say, I will destroy them with my death ray.
This incident was a good indication of what was to come for the Crime Stopper, with this only being the start of
Were they
his many
fighting?
controversies.
I
One
can't
thing
see.
that's
Stop
important to
moving.
note
Holy
is
shit,
that
this guy
throughout
has
his
horrible
entire
camera work.
career, Jones had been supported by his romantic partner, Purple Rain. She was
Hey.
another hero who was a member of the Rain City superhero movement.
What's
Her
she do?
primary goal was to promote awareness surrounding domestic abuse, as she was a victim of it herself, even running her own nonprofit organization that helped spread the message of this further.
that's
However,
nice.
things in their relationship didn't seem to be going well, as she would post a message to Facebook on November 13th of 2013, claiming that the two had separated. I think it's time to make a public statement announcing that Phoenix Jones and I are no longer together, and I will not be working together with him on any future projects. I have always conducted myself in a professional and respectable manner and do not wish to share the details of our separation. I wish Phoenix and the RC...
Well, keep going. I do not have any information about any of the allegations made against him, so please do not inquire. I do not. I do need to make it clear that I am not affiliated with him or the Rain City superhero movement. However, I will continue to helping those in need as Purple Rain.
CSM the best of luck in their future endeavors.
Oh.
This would not be the end of Phoenix's struggle to maintain positive relations with his peers. In 2014, it was...
I gotta wonder if like some of these people actually just start doing it in their costumes, going full on hero-gasm. Oh, that sounds weird and kind of awesome.
reported by news outlets that the Rain City superhero movement, the group that Phoenix had been...
I'm sorry, you can't look you can't look intimidating with a GoPro on your head. Not like this. Oh god. Hey, it's that bee sting guy. Oh no, that's not bee sting. It's like a crash test dummy guy. Crossbones? Crossbones isn't a good guy. He's a villain. I don't know that guy. Another guy with a freaking ski mask. Anyway.
Been the leader of and spearheaded for years was officially breaking up. Jones himself accused many of the heroes under him of not following proper procedure, claiming that many of them even carried illegal weaponry. Something that was obviously a problem for a group of individuals trying to operate within the confines of the law.
Is he not going to talk about that guy who wanted to be a supervillain? I was like Red Mist or something? Because that was in the documentary. I don't know. If he doesn't, that's going to suck, but you know, whatever.
However, former members such as Shockwave and El Caballero accused Jones of stealing their property and being a generally poor leader who had mishandled his role in the group, indicating that there were some other serious problems going on behind the scenes. Though these situations certainly didn't help, this would be far from the event that truly destroyed his reputation, at least in scale of, well, not being very superhero-like. He regained quite a bit of recognition after reigniting his passion for martial arts in 2015, officially signing on the World Series of Fighting and performing under a superhero name, as opposed to Benjamin Fodor. Despite this, the general coverage and fanfare surrounding his initial burst onto the scene had greatly died down, and outside of a few miscellaneous articles and reports documenting him, Phoenix was talked about much less. It wouldn't truly be until 2019.
Okay, so he's not going to talk like he had a comic and stuff?
Until it was officially confirmed by Benjamin during an interview with the NW Nerd podcast that he was retiring Phoenix Jones for good. When asked about his reasoning for doing so, he would state, quote, "In the end, there's not a balance. It doesn't make sense. I've seen it on the streets. I've seen what people do to each other, and I live with it every day. Every day, I live with horrible, horrible things. And I think to myself, I've made a difference, but I didn't make a difference. It didn't make a difference."
Jesus Christ, way to be fucking blackpilled, buddy. God damn.
While his retirement came as no surprise to onlookers, one thing nobody expected was for Fodor to be exposed as the very thing he had fought against for
here
years.
we go.
Apparently, he had been known to deal drugs by various individuals, something that was baffling considering his very well-known identity as a crime fighter, who had
Also, he was a teacher.
consistently rallied and spoke against drug-related crimes in the past. Police would arrest Benjamin Fodor on drug charges after the man allegedly sold drugs to an undercover agent. He was, of course, arrested and charged with this being a definitive nail in the coffin for his already tainted reputation. While he did accomplish some good within his community for a brief time, it's clear that despite his best efforts, Phoenix Jones has become something of a cautionary tale in the online community and the superhero community at large. His innumerable controversies, as well as the continuous stream of criticism being levied towards him and his methods, has left an undeniable stain on Phoenix Jones's legacy. Today, he still maintains a very low-key internet presence and has seemingly backed away from his once brazen persona, preferring to simply promote goodwill as opposed to taking the law into his own hands.
All right, it goes. Good for you. Deadpool robber. Uh-oh.
Deadpool is one of the most infamous comic book characters of all time, becoming known as an anti-hero.
It didn't really start happening until like, what, the late 2000s? Kind of around the time of the Ultimate Alliance games.
Who uses brutal methods to achieve his goals as a mercenary, often acting on his own selfish interests. One of the more notable aspects of the character is the humor the writers incorporate into his persona, with him often breaking the fourth wall and rarely taking anything seriously. Another thing people often note is the character's love of Mexican food.
Yeah.
Time to make the
a
chimichanga chongas.
Yeah, I fucked up.
With it being
Whatever.
a running joke amongst his fan base,
Chimichanga,
and even at
chimichangas.
times being a part of official merchandise. It's somewhat ironic then that a deranged
Actually, funny little side note. He actually, one of the issues, like I think it was Cable and Deadpool. He actually says, "I don't even like chimichangas."
individual decided to wear a mask depicting Deadpool while committing a Mexican food-related crime.
Dios
As the story
mío.
goes, on July 25th,
Also, what the fuck?
2017,
Why are you going after Mexican restaurants? They got, like, Jesus.
a disgruntled ex-employee who had
Oh.
previously worked at a Taco Bell in Bel Air, Maryland.
That doesn't count. That's not Mexican food. Come on. Jesus, that's like saying fucking Olive Garden's an authentic Italian restaurant. Come on.
Decided he would take matters into his own hands and rob the establishment. Donning a Deadpool face mask and equipping himself with a bat, he gained access to the restaurant in the early hours of the
He's not
morning
even a good
after
Deadpool.
ambushing an employee throwing out garbage.
Aw,
proceeding
come
to
on.
lock all 3 employees of the Taco Bell working at the time into the food locker
That's
and
just an
threatening
asshole
them
thing to
until
do.
he was given access to the store's safe. After stealing its contents, he escaped the crime scene, with police soon posting a warning to Facebook asking citizens to stay on the lookout and report any suspicious activity to them.
I feel like, though, he had a bat, so it's like, I feel like they could have taken him. The 3 employees could have taken them, but whatever, still, come on. They work at a fucking Taco Bell. What are you going to get from them? That's just, come on.
2 days, it was reported by authorities that the
Oh,
Deadpool
good.
robber had been captured and arrested, with the man responsible being identified as David Joseph Fury. In an article by the Baltimore Times, they reported Fury had stolen funds up to $4,150. They
Jesus.
also provided more context as to how he had been captured. One of the biggest reasons that they were able to pinpoint him as being the culprit was because of a testimony that was given by a taxi driver who had interacted with Fury soon after the crime had occurred. According to the article,
The taxi driver. Ah, damn it. I forgot his name. I forgot his name in the fucking movie. I can't believe I forgot it too. God damn it. Because I have that movie. I love that movie. It's like one of my favorite Marvel movies, but he sold him out. Come
she
on.
became incredibly suspicious after driving him to a local casino. After an argument broke out between the two about payment, Fury, who was incredibly drunk, allegedly tried to pay her using money from a suspicious-looking bag. Now, obviously, seeing that much
Really?
cash in one place was like a huge red flag.
What a dumbass. At least go home. At least go home and separate it or something. Come on. Put it somewhere safe.
And after questioning him, she claimed that the individual outright admitted to getting it from robbing a Taco Bell.
Oh, this guy's an
Straight up
idiot then.
Confessed to the entire crime. This, alongside other circumstantial evidence, such as him owning a pair of flip-flops that the robber of the Taco Bell had also been seen wearing by the employees of the restaurant, as well as his previous work connection there, allowed the police to easily track him down. He was charged with several counts of burglary, theft, and armed robbery, being released on a $30,000 bail soon after. Some internet users immediately made the connection and found it quite humorous that a Deadpool-dressed man would rob a Mexican restaurant, considering the character's affinity for the food genre. Screenshots of the security footage can be found spread all over the internet.
I don't think though they have chimichangas in Taco Bell, do they? I don't think so.
Unknown what became of David or what he's doing these days.
In jail, I would assume so. Brazilian Batman. Ugh. Okay.
While most people try to emulate superheroes to do some good within their communities, there's some on the other side of the spectrum who attempt to use techniques from their favorite heroes for nefarious purposes. One such example of this is a Brazilian man by the name of Rodrigo Rodrigues de Silva. This individual would weaponize an obsession with his favorite fictional character as a tool to aid him in fighting crime. In October of 2023, at roughly 4 in the morning in the town of Parnaíba, Rodrigo broke into a home with the intention of harming the man who resided there. The intended target of Rodrigo's assault awoke soon after he entered.
Now hold on. He could have been the one that killed his parents. You don't know.
Property, with the two getting into a struggle as the undoubtedly confused homeowner attempted to defend himself from the assailant. Presumably after realizing that he was unable to successfully carry out his plan, the masked man escaped the home and began to run away. Unlike his fictional counterpart, he seemed to lack the ability to hide in the shadows and was soon caught by the local cops.
Idiot.
Upon questioning, it was reported that Rodrigo referred to himself as a Punisher, which could potentially be a reference to another anti-hero of the same name, though this isn't exactly clear.
But I just saw some batarangs.
Notable feature about the man was his admittedly ridiculous-looking outfit, adorned with a poorly fitting outer cloak and a red mask that looked reminiscent of something Batman's sidekick Robin would wear. He completed the look with Batman's signature gauntlets. He also possessed what appeared to be batarangs as well as a knife, and allegedly had even used a metal bar during his assault. He was immediately booked and charged with attempted murder, most likely due to the fact that he had a potentially deadly weapon during his fight with the victim. One of the more puzzling aspects.
I'm El Batman. I am vengeance. He can't. It'd be funny if he actually thought himself as the Punisher, but he just got the Punisher and Batman confused.
Aspects of this story is that it's still unclear as to what his exact motivations were when attempting to carry out this crime, but there are some indications as to why it may have happened. As the Daily Mail points out in its article discussing the incident, a drug raid had been carried out by authorities in the nearby country of Peru a year prior that involved them dressing up in superhero costumes to avoid suspicion as they approached a suspected drug den. The plan had been a massive success and was of course highly publicized, so it was entirely possible Rodrigo saw what they had done and figured he could accomplish something similar, perhaps hoping to achieve some of the same success.
Except I think he was trying to kill somebody, but okay.
Regardless, whether it was an attempt to bring about his brand of justice by attempting to punish a wrongdoer or a case of him simply...
Hold on. But... Where is it? There's a very weird Avengers. Operation Marvel.
Was an attempt to bring about his brand of justice by attempting to punish a wrongdoer or a case of him simply attacking a citizen at random, it's undeniable that Brazil's real-life version of the iconic DC hero fails to live up to the Batman name.
I think it just shows that guy doesn't know what superhero he was supposed to be. Spider-Man.
The web-swinging superhero Spider-Man...
I didn't realize it was the movie for a second. I thought he was actually going to show the clip from the person. I was like, wow, he's doing pretty good.
As a character that has enjoyed a significant amount of popularity ever since his inception back in the 60s. Anybody at least somewhat familiar with the hero will know that one of his powers is to climb on walls like a spider. This is purely fictional and impossible for a regular human to complete beyond normal means, but that didn't stop one determined man in the early 1980s from trying. Dan Goodwin was born on November 7, 1955 in Kennebunk, Maine. He would later reminisce that as a child, he would often get into trouble with local police after climbing incredibly tall trees, though he never got into any serious trouble, as he was easily able to evade law enforcement's efforts to capture him. His journey into becoming a revered, larger-than-life figure began in the year 1980, after a devastating fire in Las Vegas took the lives of 87 people at the MGM Grand Hotel. It was a horrific tragedy that made a massive impression on those who saw it unfold. Dan, who was 25 years old at the time, witnessed how the ladders of the fire trucks attending to the situation were unable to reach the higher floors of the building, therefore making it nearly impossible for them to save people's lives.
Oh, shit.
After getting into an argument with the chief of Las Vegas Fire Department over methods to solve this issue, Goodwin was struck with an idea. He would perform an act or a publicity stunt to garner attention to what he perceived to be an important issue that impacted all who worked and lived in high-rise buildings and skyscrapers. He began to set his plan in motion. On Memorial Day of 1981, Dan suited up in a Spider-Man costume and equipped himself with rudimentary suction cups, with the idea being that he would climb the Sears Tower in Chicago, an iconic landmark known around the world for its incredible height. Despite the obvious danger associated with undertaking such a task, Dan decided that he was going to send a message. He was going to climb to the top of that building. Of course, the sight of a man scaling a building wasn't exactly something you see every day, with many passerby onlookers stopping and watching in awe, with the authorities being alerted soon after. Despite numerous
fucking
attempts
squealers.
to negotiate and get him off of the building, it was decided that it would be better to allow him to simply finish his climb, with the stipulation that scaffolding be allowed to be underneath him at all times in the event that he fell. He never would fall, and when he reached the top of the building, he was met with law enforcement and was promptly arrested, hauled away, and
he should have just stayed in the middle. They couldn't get him.
cuffs. The press went wild with the story. The sheer absurdity of
the only thing is, like, I guess the whole thing about getting to people is like, then how do you help them? Like what would you grab onto them? Would they grab onto you? Is that how that works? How does this? Like, how exactly does this work with the saving people? I feel like you're still going to be in danger. I don't know.
Of the situation, making it instantly memorable. Dan had achieved his goal of drawing attention to his cause, but the question remained, what was the cost going to be here? From a legal perspective,
I guess.
While he had put himself in serious danger and caused a massive public spectacle, he was given a lenient punishment and was only fined $35 for disorderly conduct.
Oh, that's not bad.
The public nicknamed him Spider Dan, and he quickly became an icon amongst the general public. At this point, you might expect the story to end. After all, Goodwin had made his point very clear.
Oh boy,
and
what happened?
himself as a devoted activist to the public.
Drugs.
However, much to the shock of everyone, he wasn't quite done yet. Thanks to the success of his first endeavor, Dan decided to attempt to climb another exceedingly tall building within the city called the John Hancock Building. He planned to attempt this on November 1st. However, it's said that he encountered some equipment failures prior to his climb and had to postpone this until November 11th. On November 11th, he was fully prepared, and as he began making his way up the John Hancock Building, a crowd once again formed. And the authorities were of course called in. Like before, they attempted to convince him to stop climbing altogether, but this time they employed considerably extreme methods to achieve their goal in stopping him. It got to the point where the fire department actively sprayed water at him in a desperate attempt to prevent him from making any more progress.
That sounds really dangerous. I mean, I'm guessing those suction cups aren't going to slip or anything, but that doesn't. I don't feel like that's very safe to do.
This led to a significant amount of criticism being levied towards the fire chief at the time, with many stating that the firefighters could have potentially killed the man.
Well, yeah.
Then Fire Commissioner William Blair insisted the water was to make the east face of the building too slippery for Goodwin to continue.
Yeah, that sounds really bad. That doesn't sound good at all. You're going to want him to slip? I feel like this guy, if he's doing this, he's gonna go all out. He's not gonna stop.
Not to knock him down.
I think that he has taken a terrific risk, and I think he's setting a bad example for an awful lot of kids. And somebody is going to try this someday that isn't nearly as capable as he is.
I don't know how they would end up doing this. They don't have spider powers. That guy literally has those suction cuppy things.
And it's going to be dangerous.
Years later, in an interview, the former chief of police revealed what his thought process was at the time.
I basically asked them, what the hell do you think you're doing? Regardless of what the purpose of the spraying of the water may have been, it gave everyone the appearance that they were trying to wash him off the side of the building. I told him, you're nuts. And I said, you're making the fire department look really bad with this technique.
And you want to know what the fire guys were yelling at me from the window wash machine? I hope you fall.
However, after the mayor arrived and mediated the situation, Goodwin did eventually reach the top without issue and was once again handcuffed and brought into custody.
Of course.
While he had escaped last time without any major legal ramifications, he wouldn't be so lucky this time around.
Oh.
Being put on a year of probation, with the main clause of it being that he was not allowed to climb buildings in the city of Chicago.
Oh, great. He can just go. He can go anywhere else. I feel like you should have did that the first time he climbed the building. That sounds really bad. Oh God. I wish you would have ended with Phoenix Jones, to be honest, but okay.
This was a more severe punishment, but it could have been worse. He could have walked away with a
Oh, this guy's an artist.
After
Whoever
this
drew
stunt,
that.
Dan was now even more revered by fans and was even more disliked by local law enforcement. In the end, Goodwin avoided major jail time, with both incidents becoming legendary in the eyes of the public. Now, at this point, you would most likely assume that this is where the story ends.
Barely
But
not.
like
We still got a few
before,
more minutes.
This is far from being the case. Instead of ceasing his unique form of activism, he decided to continue along the path of promoting causes he was passionate about by scaling tall structures, with it proving to be a successful strategy. On Memorial Day 1983, Dan decided to climb up one of the World Trade Center buildings as a way of paying tribute to deceased soldiers. His father was a veteran who had actually fought in the Korean War conflict, making this an especially meaningful display of passion for a cause that he believed in. He became so well known and popular that in 1986, he was actually approached by the owners of the CN Tower located in Ontario, Canada. The owners of this tower wanted Dan to climb it as a publicity stunt to promote their building's 10th anniversary. In the summer of that year, Dan did just that, and shockingly managed to climb this building in a matter of only an hour, a testament to his incredibly high skill level of climbing. While the actual superhero Spider-Man was obviously nothing more than fiction, it seemed that Dan truly did become a symbol for a noble cause in a similar manner. Legendary comics creator and writer Stan Lee would even go as far as to compliment Goodwin for his work, giving him glowing praise for the bravery he displayed on a regular basis.
I would like to think that his climbing the building was definitely a tribute to the spirit, to the essence, to the heroism that is Spider-Man.
Of course, when participating in stunts such as these, he would inevitably run into legal issues on numerous occasions, as I mentioned previously.
I really hope he didn't,
While
like,
most
fall
of the
off.
time he evaded major consequences, there was one occasion in particular that was rather infamous. On September 6th of 2010, he decided that in an effort to pay tribute to the victims of 9/11, he would climb the Millennium Tower located in San Francisco. He also had to overcome a
Holy
difficult
crap! He got old. I mean, yeah, it's just like, what, after 9/11, but still.
Struggle with cancer and wanted to prove he was still capable of accomplishing impressive feats, hoping to inspire others who were in a similar position. Unfortunately, despite his positive message and intentions, this did land him in quite a bit of legal trouble, being found guilty by a jury for 2 misdemeanor charges, though he denied any wrongdoing the whole way through. Despite this setback, Dan managed to maintain his positive reputation and continue to be looked at as a living legend by his supporters and a continued nuisance by authorities. Of course, nothing like this can last forever, and Dan Goodwin would eventually hang up the mantle of Spider Dan as he progressed in age. In 2023, in an interview with CTV News, the now 67-year-old Spider Dan gave more details and context as to why he stopped his climbs. He explained that he followed the technique of free climbing to accomplish his goals, something that he explained had led to the deaths of many experienced professional climbers. At one point saying, quote, If you're playing Russian roulette, eventually you're going to get the chamber. The same is true with climbing. While he never shied away from danger in his previous stunts, it seems that at this point he's satisfied with the work he's accomplished and is choosing to live a relatively danger-free life these days.
Yeah, it's gotta happen
Dan
sometime.
is now an author and has published 2 books. And well, you made it to the end. Let me know what you guys thought about this video down
Well, there you go. At least he's alive. I mean, it seems like the best one out of there. Like, he was just trying to do this, like, to spread awareness. So, you know, I guess I would have probably had it end with Tweetix Jones. It's nice that you left it on a good note. So, not a bad video. Not a bad video. Because the first one was just crazy. He's just a crazy guy.